Tonight, when the sun drops below the horizon, you'll reach for a switch and the room will instantly fill with light. You won't pause or even think about it. But for almost all of human history, that simple action didn't exist. When darkness came, it was absolute, not dim or shadowy, but total. The kind of darkness where your own hand disappears inches from your face. For over 300,000 years, every one of your ancestors lived half their life inside that darkness. No streetlights, no glowing screens, and for most of that time, not even candles. Just the stars above and whatever fire they could manage to keep alive. So what did they actually do with all those hours? The answer reshapes how we understand sleep, culture, and even the human mind itself. It starts with fire, because without it, none of this would be possible. The earliest clear evidence of controlled fire comes from Wonderwork Cave, dating back about 1 million years. But fire wasn't just a tool, it changed everything. Before fire, humans were like other primates. When the sun set, you stopped moving. You hid, climbed to safety, or stayed completely still, because moving in the dark meant something was hunting you, and something always was. Predators owned the night. Leopards, hyenas, wolves, their eyes were built for darkness, while ours were not. Step into the night without protection, and you weren't exploring. You were prey. Fire changed that instantly. A campfire creates a boundary, a circle of light about 30 feet wide. Inside it, predators hesitate. Outside it, the world is still dangerous. That circle wasn't comfort, it was survival. Even today, anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies see the same pattern. Step away from the fire at night, and your chances of not returning drop sharply. But fire didn't just protect humans, it gave them something new. More time. Before fire, daylight controlled everything. When the sun disappeared, so did your ability to function. Maybe you had 12 usable hours in summer, fewer in winter. But fire added extra hours. 2, 3, sometimes 4, carved out of darkness. And over thousands of generations, those extra hours changed us. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiesner studied the Juhuansi Bushmen and recorded their conversations. During the day, about 80% of what people talked about was practical: hunting, food, logistics, survival. But at night, everything shifted. Around the fire, over 80% of conversations became stories, myths, jokes, personal tales, and imaginative narratives about distant places and impossible events. The tone changed, the purpose changed, and the mind changed. The campfire became more than warmth or safety. It became a stage, the first theater, the first classroom, the place where humans began imagining things beyond immediate survival. This is where culture truly began to form, not in action, but in shared stories told in flickering light.
But storytelling wasn't the only thing happening at night. There was another pattern, one that remained hidden for centuries and was only recently rediscovered. Humans were not designed to sleep the way we do today. In 2001, historian Roger Eckerch published research after examining historical records like diaries, medical texts, and literature such as the Odyssey. He found repeated references to first sleep and second sleep. At first, this seemed strange, and earlier translators had ignored or misunderstood it. But it was real. For most of history, people didn't sleep in one continuous block. They went to bed shortly after sunset, slept for about 4 hours, then woke up and stayed awake for 1 or 2 hours before going back to sleep for another 4 hours until dawn. This wasn't insomnia, it was normal. During that quiet period in the middle of the night, people did many things. They talked, visited neighbors, reflected on dreams, prayed, wrote, or simply lay in the dark thinking. A 16th century physician even suggested it was the ideal time for intimacy because people were more relaxed. This period was called the Watch, and it was considered the most peaceful and mentally clear time of the day. For centuries, people accepted this rhythm as natural, but modern society forgot it. Then science rediscovered it.
In the early 1990s, psychiatrist Thomas Weir conducted an experiment at the National Institute of Mental Health, removing artificial light from participants' lives. After several weeks of long nights, every participant naturally shifted into the same pattern described in historical records: 4 hours of sleep, a period of quiet wakefulness, then another 4 hours of sleep. No one instructed them to do this. Their bodies simply returned to it. Even more interesting was how they felt during that wakeful period. Their bodies produced higher levels of prolactin, a hormone linked to calmness and relaxation. Participants described feeling peaceful, reflective, almost meditative. This wasn't just being awake, it was a unique state of consciousness, one most modern humans rarely experience. So what erased it? The answer is simple: light. In the 17th century, cities began pushing back against darkness. Under Louis XIV, Paris introduced early street lighting, followed by other cities. Then came improved candles, gas lamps in the 1800s, and eventually electric lighting, popularized by Thomas Edison in 1879. Within a few generations, night itself was transformed. Even the word curfew reveals this shift. It comes from the French couvre-feu, meaning cover the fire. In medieval towns, bells would ring to signal people to extinguish flames, not for convenience, but to preserve darkness. Night was meant to be dark. It was a time of vulnerability, stillness, and rest. In many places, walking outside at night without a lantern was illegal. Darkness was associated with danger and the unknown. But modern society changed that. We filled the night with light and called it progress. In doing so, we lost something important. Today, people are exposed to artificial light for hours after sunset. This light, especially from screens, disrupts melatonin production and confuses the body's internal clock. The brain interprets late-night light as daytime, delaying sleep and fragmenting it. Research shows that even 1 week without artificial light, such as camping, can reset the body's natural rhythm. Melatonin begins to rise at sunset again, and sleep patterns realign. The system is still there, waiting. But we didn't just change our sleep. We removed an entire phase of human experience. That quiet, reflective state between sleeps has nearly disappeared. Instead, we label nighttime wakefulness as insomnia. But what if it's not a problem? What if waking up in the middle of the night isn't your body failing, but remembering? For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived with a rhythm that modern science is only beginning to understand. Their nights were not empty. They were meaningful and structured in a different way. They gathered around firelight, sharing stories that built culture. They slept in 2 phases, separated by a period of calm awareness. They lived under skies so dark that the Milky Way was simply part of everyday life. And in those silent hours between sleeps, they experienced something we've almost lost completely: time to think. No noise, no distractions, no endless stream of information. Just the mind, awake in the dark, turning inward before drifting back into sleep. We traded that world for a light switch, and most of us never realized what we gave up.